Next News. Breaking news.
All right, we got some more news about that terror attack in New York City. It was a leftist activist that stood outside the New York mayor's mansion lecturing the crowd that everyone is welcome in America. And at that exact moment, an ISIS-inspired jihadist hurled a nail bomb packed with the same explosive used in the Manchester Arena massacre right over his head into the crowd. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The bomb was loaded with TATP, one of the most volatile explosives known to terrorism. Now, if that device had detonated, we'd be talking about dozens of dead Americans right now. This is Islamic terrorism on American soil, and the left still won't say the words. Now, here is what this means for you and your family. Two men, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Quaimi, just got slapped with federal terrorism charges. They admitted to police they were aligned with ISIS. They told investigators they wanted to do something bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing, more than 3 deaths, and that was their goal. And they chose to attack American citizens exercising their First Amendment right to peacefully protest. And this wasn't some amateur hour operation. These terrorists built the device using TATP, the signature explosive of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. The same compound used in the London 7/7 attacks that killed 52 people. The same explosive Richard Reed tried to use to blow up a passenger plane. The same deadly material that murdered 23 people at an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. We were one failed detonator away from a mass casualty terror attack in the heart of New York City, and it happened while our political leaders lecture us about Islamophobia. And while jihadists are building bombs on American soil, there is another national security crisis unfolding the mainstream media just refuses to cover. We've been tracking it for months out of Washington. The media doesn't want you to see this. As Iran is destabilizing the Middle East, the federal government made a move, President Trump made a move that could reshape America's security posture. I'm going to tell you the truth. Our nuclear subs, our warheads, next-gen power grid, all of it depends on uranium, and we import almost every single pound of it. It's not about energy independence, it's about survival. Because a nation that can't power its own military doesn't stay a superpower for long. And that's why smart investors are looking at domestic uranium producers like Atomic Minerals, trading as ATMMF in the United States and ATOM in Canada. When national security meets critical resource scarcity, those positioned early could see massive returns. But do your own research. There is a full briefing that has been prepared just for Next News viewers, linked below. Do not sleep on this one. Now back to the story of the establishment's desperately trying to spin. Yes, here is what the mainstream media is burying about this attack. The U.S. Attorney himself, Jay Clayton, he stood at the podium and called these ISIS-inspired actions, quote, chilling. He said violence is not protected protest, it's not protected speech, and New York terrorism will be met with swift justice. But while federal prosecutors are doing their jobs, wait to hear what New York City's first Muslim mayor had to say. His response is absolutely infuriating, and it tells you everything about the left's priorities. Let's dive deep. A leftist in New York was lecturing how everyone is welcome when a jihadist throws a bomb over his head into a crowd of people. Really feels too scripted at this point.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Did you see that? Did you see that? That was the moment.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Right there. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, this sets up the shocking irony. We need hard facts about what actually happened, who was behind the attacks. 2 men were charged Monday with terrorist offenses for throwing a nail bomb near a weekend anti-Islam protest outside the New York mayor's residence. The pair told police they were aligned with the Islamic State group. The bomb did not detonate. Here is an image of the individual with his device. And we have confirmation this was, in fact, ISIS-affiliated terrorism, but the explosive details about the weapon make this even more chilling. The bomb that was thrown at the anti-Islam protesters in New York was charged with TATP, an enormously volatile and extremely powerful substance. Thank Lord it did not detonate.
Fox News has learned of a disturbing development involving the type of explosive used in the attempted attack and just how dangerous it is. Let's bring in retired NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow, who has more information on this device that was found. So it was a homemade device, Paul, but not necessarily a cheesy one, in other words.
No, not at all, John. And I have to tell you, having done about 15 years worth of this kind of work, counterterrorism work, this is a bit of a game changer. First of all, let me start by saying New York City got extremely lucky yesterday. TATP is enormously volatile. It is not very stable. It's extremely powerful. And it is the footprint, and if you go by past events, of serious bombing attacks. The London 7/7 attacks, Richard Reed's attempt on a plane. Many of us remember the Ariana Grande attacks outside the Manchester Arena. These are situations where you're well into double figures of people killed, never mind injured. So this was a very, very serious attempt, much more serious, I would argue, than it likely seemed to many right initially. And as to why they didn't detonate, in light of the fact that they were charged the way they were, is going to be something I'm sure that the federal authorities are going to be looking at very closely as they investigate these two perps.
Yeah, and hats off to the New York City Police Department for running in and stopping those attacks. They didn't just run away or go to a place of safety.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at, they didn't know what they were into there. All they saw was something that was smoking. For all they know, this thing is extremely powerful, but they ran towards it. Look, that's what your instincts are as a police officer. That's what you're supposed to do, but that doesn't mean it is any less heroic. So hats off to those guys, and thank God the devices didn't detonate. It really comes down to now, why? Was it an incomplete chemical formula? Were somehow or other the balances off? You know, the mixture was a little bit too much of this, a little bit less of that. It's not a simple thing to make correctly, very clearly, and it's also extremely dangerous.
So we're getting new information about the bomb's deadly composition, shows how close we came to mass casualties, but notice how local politicians are responding. New York Post Metro, Mandami finally condemns ISIS-loving accused bomb throwers, but again stops short of calling out radical Islam.
We can now share that federal charges have been filed in the Southern District of New York against two individuals, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Qayyumi, in connection with that attack. The defendants are charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS, using a weapon of mass destruction, transporting explosive materials, interstate transportation and receipt of explosive materials, and unlawful possession of destructive devices.
So now, even after literal ISIS bomb attack, politicians are still dancing around the real issue. That's Mandami for you. The U.S. attorney, as you saw, already handling it very differently. Jay Clayton for the Southern District announces charges.
We charged two individuals today, Balat and Qayyumi. They are charged federally with 5 counts. Attempted provision of material support and resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization. Use of a weapon of mass destruction. Transportation of explosive materials. Interstate transportation and receipt of explosives. And unlawful possession of destructive devices. The facts alleged in the complaint are just that, allegations. In our great system of justice, they must be proven, and the defendants have the presumption of innocence. Commissioner Tisch.
The presumption of innocence. That is what we give in the United States, but we also prosecute terrorists to the fullest extent of the law. Federal prosecutors aren't mincing words about terrorism, but wait to see how the New York mayor is framing it. This is what he said.
On Saturday, a protest was held outside Gracie Mansion, where I live with my wife, Rama. Neither of us were home at the time. This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home. While I found this protest appalling, I will not waver in my belief that it should be allowed to happen. Ours is a free society where the right to peaceful protest is sacred. It does not belong only to those we agree with. It belongs to everyone. I will defend that right every day that I am mayor, even when those protesting say things that I abhor.
And of course, that is Mondami for you. Just continuing to perpetuate victimhood. Now here's the truth the establishment does not want you to understand. Mondami called the anti-Islam protests vile, rooted in white supremacy, condemning American citizens peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. When it came to the actual terrorists, the ISIS-inspired jihadis who threw a nail bomb at the protesters, he couldn't bring himself to call out radical Islam, not once. Think about that. Americans protesting peacefully. That's white supremacy. Literal Islamic terrorists trying to mass murder those Americans, that's just unfortunate violence we won't really address. This is the twisted worldview of the radical left that will protect the ideology that wants to destroy us while demonizing patriotic Americans who want to speak out. So folks, this is exactly why President Trump's America First agenda matters more than ever. We need leaders who will call radical Islamic terrorism by its name, not coddle it. We need prosecutors who will throw the book at these jihadis, and thank God that's exactly what's happening. But we also need to expose these weak-ass mayors and politicians who care more about political correctness than protecting American lives. And that's exactly why you need to sign up at Raw Feed. Get on the emergency alert list. Text Raw Feed to 844-840-4963. It will be the best thing that you ever do. You will get classified access, intel that only I can share with you when I receive it, and exclusive breaking news when the algorithm refuses to share that news with you. Okay? There's a reason that notifications don't go out. And I'm going to go ahead and bypass that with you. So text Raw Feed 844-840-4963. We text Raw Feed, those words, to that number. And share this video with everybody you know. The mainstream media will bury the story because it destroys their narrative. Don't let them. Now drop a comment. Tell me, should Mayor Mondami resign for refusing to condemn radical Islam after a terror attack in his own city? A simple yes or no. If you want to show the world where you stand, check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. We've got some new gear. We just dropped Grand Old Memes, one of the great meme smiths of our day, designed these just for you. Operation Epic Fury. FAFO. These are shirts that send a message. As always, Patriots, stay informed and stay free. I'm Gary Franchi.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.